It's a place that you go to where there's just you, the aeroplane, and the sky, really. No matter what your concerns, worries, just leave them at the gate, you know? The only thing I could think about was, this is all you've ever wanted to do. You cannot let this go. I think when I first stepped foot into a flight deck when I was a kid, it looked so out of this world. It was such a distant dream.
In case of unforeseen circumstances, it can take immediate decisions to alter our speed or direction.
I've always been the kid that was more excited about the actual process of going through the airport and being on an aeroplane than, you know, the actual holiday itself. Always fighting for the window seat, always dinging the call bell for the flight attendant to see if I could go to the flight deck. I was on a flight back from Tenerife. As usual, I'd managed to wangle a trip up to the flight deck. I was sat in the jump seat of the 757, just in awe of the machine, of them, and it was then that I knew that this was all I wanted to do. This is where it all began. Halfway down that runway to the left-hand side, as you exit on taxiway Mike, is where my old flying school used to be. I kind of have a cinema reel that's flicking through my head of all the times that I've taken off on this runway. I went from this being this kind of futuristic and unachievable sci-fi goal to thinking, oh, actually, you know what, yeah, this could be for me, to, oh wow, this is for me and I can do this. The more time you spend in the flight deck, it starts to become this sort of area of mastery, really. You start to become one with the machine, is what a lot of experienced guys say. You're sort of expecting this sort of music, if you like, to flow. So the diagnosis came in 2014, and I thought that I was never going to fly again because I'm HIV positive. I gave myself an incredibly hard time. I was worried about what friends might think. Friends of a time and of a generation that lived through the Don't Die of Ignorance campaign of the 80s.
There is now a danger that has become a threat to us all. It is a deadly disease and there is no known cure. So far it's been confined to small groups, but it's spreading. So protect yourself and read this leaflet when it arrives.
I thought that I was this sort of walking grenade, or just, you know, I was very conscious of the fear people might have of me. I had been so diligent, and every single decision that I made, it was all with the end goal of becoming a pilot in mind, you know. The regulations essentially said that if you were someone that was living with HIV that wanted to become a pilot, you couldn't. The thinking was that somebody living with HIV might become unwell during flight. That's why I couldn't get the medical. I was ashamed, embarrassed, and thought, you know what, the easiest thing here is to just walk away. All of the evidence, all of the medical evidence that was used to justify the authorities' position on HIV at the time was outdated, and it didn't know or didn't recognise that somebody on successful treatment had the virus suppressed in their body, so you know you weren't going to become incapacitated at any point in time. There was blatant discrimination based on somebody's HIV status, and that didn't make any sense to me, and it needed to be challenged. You must present all of these to us. A neuropsychologist, a knot in my stomach. I mean, why would you waste your time? A psychiatric assessment. Maybe this is a complete waste of time. Why is it I'm having to do this? Everything was an uphill battle, you know, and every piece of communication that I seemed to get back from anyone was always another reason why it couldn't happen. I knew that actually I need some help here. I can't do this on my own. So it started with getting the media involved and how can we raise the profile of this story. I wasn't comfortable speaking as me. I used the pseudonym of Pilot Anthony, a name that, you know, hopefully people wouldn't associate with me at all. I was doing TV for the BBC, STV, radio, and you know my voice was altered. I sounded like a Dalek.
Obviously, he was very upset because you know at this point it was quite a definitive no.
That media attention at that point managed to generate a hell of a lot of support for the case, and on the back of that, we managed to get politicians involved, and ultimately the First Minister speaking in the Scottish Parliament to say that actually this rule is wrong.
And we should all continue to work to eradicate the stigma around the virus.
I always thought that, you know, if we keep pushing and pushing and pushing, this has to happen. And with the political support, with the media attention at that time, we managed to get the rules changed.
It's not just a matter of putting on a uniform and flying off around the world. Long before they'll let you near the real thing, there's the simulator. It's just an elaborate box firmly fixed to the ground.
I stepped foot into the flight deck to start training, and it was a little bit sad in a way because it was familiar, but it was kind of, you know, a distant memory familiar. I almost knew that everything else from then on was going to be done in the context of that challenge that had happened, and I would never have those sort of pure childhood experiences again. Stepping foot back into the flight deck after that break, I started to reflect internally more than anything on why I'd used Pilot Anthony. I was back to that point of being ashamed again. What was it about the diagnosis, about me, that made me feel that I couldn't do this as myself? I think my own perceptions and prejudices that I had about, HIV before I started this journey were as wrong as the ones that I seek to challenge today. When I decided to, come out, for want of a better word, it was the point of it's okay to be HIV positive and be a pilot. Because everything in the world up until that point had told me that it wasn't. And I wanted to tell everybody and tell myself that it was. Flying to me has always in a way felt very therapeutic. It's actually really nice to just escape to that world, I guess.